Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is what I'm going to be talking through today. You're probably aware of what this is based on. This is a gas blowback replica. It is not a real firearm and it is for airsoft, so it's a toy. And this is probably one of my favorite things in my collection. I really like it, but I would say I don't use it that much. It's definitely been more of a wall hanger for me. Probably because it's so beautiful. But this is from Tokyo Marui, as a lot of my stuff is, if you follow the channel and you see a lot of my videos. If not, it'd be great if you could subscribe or join the channel, write a comment, and I'd love to have you here, Discord, etc. This is the Tokyo Marui gas blowback. It's called the AKM. It's based on the kind of original AK-47, but it is your AK, you know, wood grip, Bakelite pistol grip, wood furniture. I'm going to go over in this video a kind of overview of this, but I'm going to go over the basic features of it so you can kind of get an idea if you're not already aware. I'm going to go through the upgrades that I've done for this, why I've done them, and what I would recommend doing. I'm going to talk about the performance, the gas efficiency, and talk about the magazines. And I'm also going to kind of give my thoughts on the upgrades, the alternatives, and kind of my overview of what I think of this thing, which you can probably tell already is positive for sure. So Tokyo Marui, out of the box, it is probably one of the best performing replicas in terms of gas blowback I think that you can get. You can definitely get a lot of different AKs from other manufacturers. GHK are ones that are kind of known for AKs, although they haven't had the best reputation or experience. Like, people haven't had the best experience with their more recent models. I think they're version 3, but generally GHK are seen as probably the gold standard for AKs. But I would say in terms of performance, this is going to be on par, and I absolutely love this thing. So if you're thinking about buying it, I would say you're in good hands with this. So it is gas blowback. It works very similar to how an AK works, kind of like their MWS system for ARs. You have a fire selector right here, which is your standard. First one's for full auto, second one's for semi, as a normal AK would be. You have to have it off safe to charge it. You've got a charging handle here, which does not go full back. Like, it isn't like a real AK where the bolt travel should go fully back. It's only about a 50% bolt travel. So that's something to bear in mind. There are other replicas that do the full bolt travel. However, this is an airsoft gun, and I think if you're gonna substitute something for that realism, performance is one of them. And if you're not aware of Tokyo Marui, their performance is pretty awesome, especially their gas blowback stuff, which is firing under green gas at, you know, what everyone else is. It's not the reduced FPS that quite a few of their AEGs are. It is pretty much very solidly built. Like, it's a very kind of realistic feeling in terms of the heaviness of the metal. The quality of it's really good. One thing that a lot of people don't like with this is that when you get it, the furniture on it, so this is actual real wood, which I'll go through in a bit, but the normal furniture it comes with is actually plastic instead of wood. So it looks very similar to wood. However, when you pick it up, you will know it's plastic, and it will kind of make that ting noise kind of when you hit it. So that is something just to bear in mind, is that it's very realistic, other than the fact that it doesn't have real wood furniture. So yeah, just be aware of that when you get it out the box. It has got a very solid recoil in it. I would say this is a much heavier recoil generally than you're going to get on the MWS system, which I absolutely love. And so it does kind of give that very satisfying feeling when you fire it. The other thing is the rate of fire is kind of like an AK rate of fire, so it's not super fast, but it feels really satisfying again, and again it's kind of realistic in the way that it sounds. In fact, I'll give you a little tester of that just so you guys aren't getting too bored right now and you stay with me for the rest of the video. So racking it back, this is it on semi. And you can see the recoil there, and then this is the full auto rate of fire. So it's not a slow rate of fire, but it's not your super fast, 20 rounds per second that you'll see with some of these AEGs. So yeah, so that is one of my favorite things about it. The recoil on this is pretty phenomenal. Stock furniture, yeah, as I said, it's plastic, not wood. Looks fine, but again, I would do what I've done, which I'll go through in a second. The gas efficiency on this is really good. So if you have one of these Tokyo Marui mags, it fills with a lot of gas. As you can probably tell, it's a pretty good size, realistic AK mag size, but it takes a lot of gas in it. And you can probably, I think I've tested this before, you can probably get 3 loads of BBs out of this before you need to regas it. And the actual system itself is just very efficient on the gas. It's using minimal gas and wasting not that much to actually get the BBs going and out there. So it's just a very, very good system for that. Reliability as well. It's got a little bit of a cult following. There are a lot of people, if you're an AK guy, which I didn't used to be, but actually I am quite an AK lover now. It's different. See so many AR-based platforms out there. But having an AK is pretty cool. Also, if you're going to like a Milsim West event or something like that, and you're playing like Op4 or, the bad guys, not necessarily NATO, it's really cool to be able to use something like this. And so when I got this, I was like, I just love the way it looks. I'm not going to mess with this too much. It's my thoughts, but a lot of people do. The one thing that I would say is generally internally, with the performance, I actually went to an airsoft shop, Airsoft Extreme, and I said, hey, let's tech this out. Let's make it more powerful. Let's do an inner barrel. Let's do all these things. The tech actually turned around to me, and I've seen a lot of people say this, and they were like, there's something Tokyo Marui do when they build their replicas. They sprinkle their like magic on it. And so you want to think about whether you want to take this apart and start messing with it. As soon as you are, taking the bolts apart, maybe redoing the thread lock, misaligning things, it may kind of be a lot more of a headache than it's worth. And this thing is already performing really well. So as an upgrade platform, you can upgrade it. There's a lot of like aftermarket upgrade parts, not like there is for MWS, but a lot. And you can do that for sure. But I've been advised just like the internals are so good that don't necessarily mess around with them. So I decided not to do that. And it's definitely got that kind of like, a lot of people absolutely love it just for that reason. You can get it out of the box. It works incredibly well. You don't have to mess around. So most of the upgrades that I've seen people do are more based on the externals. And obviously you can change that out without affecting the performance too much. So that's kind of my thoughts on that. Upgrades and customization. So I kept mine looking like the classic AKM. I really think this is very cool. You recognize it everywhere. It's the wood assault rifle that everyone sees. It's just probably the most famous rifle apart from the M4 AR based platform. You will see it in tons of movies. You'll see it absolutely everywhere. And people still use it even though it was built or made in 1947. This thing is something, or the original model was, this thing is something that just goes and goes and goes and goes, the real steel version. And so I don't think this is going to go anywhere for a while. It's kind of like the MP5 where people still love it, still use it. It's an old system now, but actually it's going to be one of those things that's around forever. So when I got it, I was like, there are some really cool Zenitco kits you can do and make them look awesome. But I was like, I'm going to keep mine the classic AK style. I also have another AK that Tokyo Marui make, which is the AKX. Not really based on anything specific or real steel, but it is their modernized AK. It's got a interchangeable grip. It's got a folding stock. So I got one of those instead and decided to have that as my modern AK, and this is my kind of classic AK. So I decided to keep it the same. However, there are some external things that I did. Some external and one interior. The external thing that I did is change out the furniture. So you can get this real wood furniture, and I'll show you here. You can see there's a couple of little scuff marks on there. I haven't actually played with this in games that much, but you can definitely, obviously you can play in games with it, but you can see here the like real wood is starting to chip a little bit here. I think that's going to look really cool because it's going to wear in, and you may just want to put some like wood, oil or whatever it is, just to make it a little more authentic looking. But I bought this real steel kit. This one is from RA Tech. You can get it from some of the overseas manufacturers. I think it's quite hard to find in the US, if that's where you're based. I had a really good experience with this. When I bought it, it fits really well. Like, there's no movement in it. It literally went straight on. You know, you're removing it by moving this out here. It kind of like loosens up. You know, you can watch loads of videos on how to change the actual furniture, but mine did really well. However, when I ordered it and bought it, I was a little bit kind of thinking, should I get this? Because I have seen other people that have bought it and it's not been perfect when it's come out the box. One of the ones that I remember is Ollie Talks Airsoft. Absolutely love his channel. Go and check it out. Probably one of the most experienced gas blowback guys around. And he, I think, had like a little chip here, or a little kind of like crack, which could be a big issue. So it looks great. It feels great. Wearability, I haven't really tested that. But for me, it was like, I'm getting rid of this plastic furniture and I'm going to make this thing literally feel and look like a real AK. So that RA Tech kit that I got, it was $120. So it's expensive. It's not cheap, but that is probably one of the only ones that I've seen out there. Another upgrade that I have done, or the only other real upgrade that I've done, is internally, instead of messing around with any of the kind of hop up, the inner barrel, anything like that, I actually increased, like I changed out this. Now this is just a recoil spring, which is just going to make the recoil harder. It's just a stronger spring. This is made by a company called Bavtac. And so you can get this from them. I think that costs it's about $21 to buy it. Great company again. They make Z plates, which are amazing for the MWS. But I ordered that because I was like, that's something that I actually really want. I'm going to just copy this system here. But the interior of this, now I've got this open, is, again, it's really similar to a real AK. So you've got your spring in there. You can remove your bolt. And that is a recoil rod right there. In fact, that is another thing I did. I replaced this recoil rod with something heavier, again, just to give me a better, harder recoil. It's not going to change much in the performance, maybe slow the rate of fire somewhat, but that is that's something. And being able to just take this apart. Lost you for a second. It's going to come back. There it is. Sorry guys, again, this computer, I need to sort this out. It's very cool to be able to disassemble this like a real AK. So that recoil guide rod is going in there. And then I am going to, now I've said that, I'm not going to be able to like actually get the bolt in. There we go. And then you're just sitting the spring into this space here. And I'm basically just aligning that and allowing that to go on that little. This is always kind of like, until you've done it 100 times, it can be a little bit finicky. Is that right? I think that is okay. We'll see. And then this is the standard top cover that you are going to be using, and that is not far enough, so we need to just mess around with that somewhat. It's just basically lining it up to the actual rail here, making sure that that's in there solidly. And again, I am needing that just to sit back like that. Okay, so that's fine. Sorry, I shouldn't be struggling to get this AK back together when I'm making a video for you guys, but that's just pushing that in, getting it back together. So all I've done internally, the other change has just been, well, increase the recoil rod, so it's heavier, the actual bolt, and then the recoil spring. It's 115% recoil spring, so that basically just means it's increasing the power by about 15%, but I really like heavy recoil, as you may know if you watch the videos, so that's something that I really like. So other upgrades you can do, there's a ton of different stuff. As I said, I don't really like recommend them, but you could change the inner barrel, you can change the hot rubber, you could change exterior stuff. You know, there are lots of little things you could tinker with, change out the actual bolt. There's other kind of versions you can get, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend them. I mean, I haven't tried them. If you have and you've had a good experience, write it in the comments so people can see it. But that's something that that I'm not the biggest I don't have the biggest knowledge on that other than reading other people's comments. Okay, so let's move on to magazines and the loading process. They are some of the best magazines. I absolutely love these things. Very solid, built of metal. There are 3 variants right now that you can get. This is the one that actually comes with the replica. So that's kind of more your classic AK style. AK reloads, unless you should know how it is, but you're hooking it in, pushing it back, and that's clicking in. One amazing thing with this is there is literally no wobble in the magazine. Normally you have like a little bit of a gap, and in most like replicas, even my MWSs, which have a much bigger or thicker mag well around the mag, there's some wiggle there for sure. This thing just is so solid, and so when you've got it, like there's just no rattle at all. That's the sling mount rattling, but there's no twist, there's no wobble. So these mags are excellent. This is actually a more modern style mag that you get with the AKX. You can buy these separately. Both of them I think are about $65. Again, I don't think that looks particularly good on the old classic style AK, but if you prefer that look, you can go with that. And then they actually have a new mag, which is their Bakelite version, which is this. It looks like that kind of Bakelite plastic AK mag. However, it's not plastic. This is metal, and they've just painted it to look like Bakelite. And it is very kind of cool looking, authentic looking. This is only released a while ago, but you can see there's some wear on there where I'm hooking it in. And I think when you scratch it, it doesn't necessarily look as realistic, although that does look really cool for me on an actual AK replica. So if you want to spend extra money, because these are $75, I have no idea why. They are literally exactly the same as these, but they'll cost you an extra $10 for some reason. Then that's something you have as an option as well. Other things, these can also, they have massive gas capacity, as I've told you, but they can also be altered. So there is like a cylinder, sorry, like a tube in here, which goes around the gas inlet right in there. So it basically, you can go and watch Jaeger Precision's video. You can very easily take the bottom of these out, remove the actual tube that's in there, cut it down, and it will increase the gas volume of these. I don't know why they designed them with that, but from watching Jaeger Precision, and I've lost you again, sorry. We've lost the actual view. I need to sort this. From actually watching Jaeger Precision's videos, he did a talk through of how to do that and how to increase the gas capacity. I literally went through all of my AK mags and did that. Once you do the first one, it's pretty easy to get through it. You're just removing the bottom here, taking it out, literally kind of using a pipe cutter to get it off, and then you're all good. So huge gas capacity in these, and you can increase them. I will put a link to that video down below as well, as all the other parts I'll put links to. So the wood kit, the Bavtac spring, anything I'm talking about, if you want to kind of get more info, I'll try and put all links below so you can see those. You can, I think, get third-party magazines for this, but I don't think they're necessary, and I haven't seen that many of them. So if you want to get mags for this, I would just go with the Tokyo Marui version. And again, apologies guys, you can't see me. This is really bad. So I would just go with that version. And I think the performance on these is going to be the same whichever model you go with. So that's all good. Another thing to mention with the magazines is loading these things is a nightmare. You can probably see the mag feed lips there. They're just very, very hard to get BBs into. So again, I talk about Jaeger Precision, and he actually builds a magazine loading adapter. He does it for most things, but I have only really, like, I've tried to load these with a speed loader, a regular one. They're not easy to load, and he builds this little plastic piece which goes on here, and what that does is basically pushes down the actual the follower and allows you just to use a speed loader or one of these just to load that up. So I'll show you how that works quickly. But you can buy those on his website. I think they're about $12. When I just looked, they are actually sold out, so that might be kind of annoying. Let me just see here. Unlock. And I will quickly just do 5 rounds in it. That's probably the easiest. So I'm just holding that down. Oh, and as I hold it down, it's only mandling the first one. I need to hold it down strong on this. So that's putting 5 in there. And that's literally loading 5 mags straight into that little bit there. So you can see the 5 rounds in there. Otherwise, trying to get a speed loader to do it is a bit of a nightmare. So you can look at these Jaeger Precision 3D printed. I think they're $12, but they are sold out right now. I'll put another link to that. So yeah, so let me just show you how this fires quickly, because I'm going to do a chrono in a second, and I don't want to show you that with 2 5s, which is in here. I'm going to do it with some 2.2s. But this is it firing on full auto. So cool. So satisfying to shoot it. Okay, so other ones, that's the loading about is difficult. The other thing which I think is very cool with this is it means, like with an AK, when the mag is empty, you don't have bolt hold back. It's a closed bolt, and so it's not actually going to reciprocate when the mag is empty, which is very cool because that's realistic. They call it like the AK click of death, I think it's called. So, you know, when you finish your mag, you just hear this sound, and that means you're out of bullets. So it's very hard to tell that you're not, which means it's very hard to fire these things when you dry fire them. You know, if you just want to do a bit of recoil and look cool, then it's very hard to do that. So what they've done is they've actually put like a little switch just in here. It's very hard to see, but actually this little thing here will pull down. If I can find it, it will actually pull down, and you can move it into a position where it will not allow you to dry fire. I've got the dry fire version on right now, but actually I've just moved the position of that, and now it means that if I have an empty mag in here, even though this has got gas in it, it's going to go like that, and it's not going to actually fire. So you get the realism if you're playing and you just want to know when you're out of a mag, and you can change it. However, you also have the option to do it on the actual replica to dry fire. Some of these platforms will allow you to do that by changing the mag, like a little switch on the mag, like the Sega, like the VFC AR mags. But I love that it's actually on the replica, so you're not having to mess around with which mag's got what. I just think that's a really cool feature. So that's just something to be in mind. So what I'm going to do now quickly is just do a demo of the actual thing firing .2s. So I've got some .2s in here. I'm going to need that mag adapter again. So you'll see me using it this way. I don't have .2s in my speed loader, so that's not great. But this allows me to just put this in. I have my Ace Tech Chrono here, so I'm going to get that out, and I am going to give you guys an idea of what FPS this is firing at. And I think sometimes people do have an issue with how hot these can fire. Obviously, with it being a gas blowback, that's completely gas and temperature dependent. But I'm using your regular kind of Elite Force green gas for this one, and I'll give you an idea of what. I should have probably put my safety glasses on for that last one, but I'm going to do it this time because you should always wear your safety glasses. And I'm going to... The other thing I love actually as well is you don't get the BB release. You know, on AEGs where you get that 3 BBs that will just drop out because it's like primed. With this, you don't get that, and I think that's more realistic. I really like it. So I'll give you some semi, and then I have my FPS here set to 0.2 grams. So that's actually only 309, 312, 317, 319, 312, 310, 313, 307. So an average there of, it's 0.8 joules. Sorry. Lost you there. I'm going to do that. Average there of 0.8 joules. So it's actually very cold here, and I've just filled the mags. That probably explains why. I'd expect maybe a 375 generally is where you're going to be. And if you're in a hot climate, it is going to get hotter. In terms of rates of fire, I'm going to give you an idea of that. And this is 12 rounds a second. Yeah, so it's looking at about 12 rounds a second is kind of where it's firing. which I think it's great. You know, it's actually you know, perfect because it's actually realistic to an AK. So that gives you an idea there of just like performance, rate of fire on the 0.2s. Again, I wouldn't run a 0.2 in this. I would run a 0.32 minimum. So that's just something to bear in mind. Final thoughts. So I'm going to go through just what I think of it. Gas efficiency is amazing. It's excellent performance just in terms of range. Like the range on this is really good. It puts it out there like so far. When my friends actually turned around and said, can you shoot me in the back who don't play Airsoft? I went to the end of a tennis court, just used the iron sights, which aren't easy on an AK, fired at them, hit him right in the middle of the back. He was like, that is incredibly painful. I don't think he realized how much it hurts on a bare back. But it's so accurate that I could do that. And that's out of the box. That's not having to mess around with it. That's just how it is. You can just use it, and it's just, I haven't seen many people have an issue with it breaks. So that's a really, really big kind of good thing about these. Classic AK feel, like it feels like an AK. You just feel very cool. If you're kind of a bit bored of dressing up like a NATO soldier and you want something a bit different, it looks great if it's hanging on your wall. It looks great if it's, you know, actually, you know, one thing I didn't do is, oh yeah, so the mag is empty there, and that is giving me the click of death. So I did... Yeah, there you go. I did finish the mag there. I was like, oh, did I just shoot the ceiling there? That would have been good. So it's realistic in those kinds of ways. It's an AK. I think it's pretty awesome. Downsides, the magazines are expensive. You know, $65 or $75. That's quite a bit of money. And without an adapter, they're pretty hard to load. It's not technically realistic with the full bolt travel. It doesn't have a full travel bolt that's going all the way back, but it's reciprocating. It's very, very cool. And obviously it also does not come with real wood. So I think that's not, for me, kind of ideal without that real wood. And also upgrades internally, you don't need to do it, but if you do it, you could risk kind of making it not as good as it is out of the box, which isn't really a downside, but that's something just to mention. So who should be buying this? It's great for any players who love AKs, obviously. If you want something a bit different, it's great. It's not going to compete with AEGs. You know, you've got 35 round magazines. It's not like you've got 100, 200 round mags. The gas capacity is great, so it's probably going to be better than like an MWS in some ways. So I would say it's kind of that more experienced player, person who wants recoil, wants gas blowback. If you're kind of getting into Airsoft and you want to compete without, you know, you wanted to fire full auto all the time, it's definitely not going to be that. Would I recommend it? 100%. Like, I absolutely love this thing. And if you're looking to get into gas blowbacks, this is a great first thing to get. I don't think you're going to regret that at all. So that's something to consider. And if you want something more modern, just get the AKX. It's the same system. You're just going to get something which is more modern looking. So I don't think there's any real... You know, it's going to be the same either way. I like both of them, so I got both, being an idiot. But you can get one or the other, and it'll satisfy both things. Do you want the modern AK? Do you want the old classic? You can do that. So conclusion, I kind of went through the points there. Gas efficiency is great, high performing, best left stock. Magazines are really good, but they are expensive. But I'd love to know from you guys, do you own a Tokyo Marui or another gas blowback? Have you tried an AKM? Would you recommend an AKM if you have tried it? Are you an AK guy or not? Because that probably makes a big difference on that. And which one would you pick? Would you pick an AKM or an AKX? Thank you guys so much for being here and watching the video. I hope this wasn't too long. It was interesting. It was enjoyable to watch. Sorry about the cutouts. I don't know why it's doing it. I'm filming on my phone and for some reason it just decides to cut out. I'm not getting phone calls incoming. It's just something that's really annoying me and happening. So I apologize for that. And I'll be back very, very soon with another video, probably tomorrow. Hope you guys are good and have a great day. Bye-bye.